FM, WJAB. Good afternoon and welcome to Community News from the Hill. I'm your host, Erica Fox, and today we have a very special guest in the studio with us and here on the campus of Alabama A&M University. I would like to welcome Miss Cynthia Reese. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fine. So glad to have you and to meet you, of course. And welcome to the Hill.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? What are your likes? What's your family? School?
Yes. So I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I currently reside in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have two children. Madison's 15 and my son Michael will be 13 in 5 minutes.
Driving in 6 minutes.
Yes. Yes. I enjoy fitness. I enjoy travel. And I love a good meal and an excellent margarita.
Oh, see, you added to the M's. We were talking offline about the M's. Madison, say the son's name again.
Michael.
Madison, Michael, Mom, Memphis, Minneapolis, a good meal, and a margarita.
All of those.
I like that.
All of those. Yes.
That works. I like that. I like that. So we're here to talk about Medtronic and the medical field with technology. But what is your background and how did you get into the medical field?
So I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for over 26 years, dating myself a bit. And I was actually relocating. I had gotten married and was relocating to Minneapolis and doing some research on companies that were based there. And I happened upon Medtronic. And so sought them out, ended up getting hired there, been there for 16 years. I've done a variety of roles, everything from clinical sales to marketing to quality, and today my role is in human resources. I lead our strategic partnerships. So we have a strategic partnership with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, so I'm responsible for partnerships that enable our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy.
So what drew you to the nursing field first and foremost?
I am a people person. I never met a stranger. If the wall could talk, I would talk to the wall. And I just love to help people. And so that's one of the reasons why I keep my nursing license active is because when I have time, I still dabble in clinical nursing because I want to continue to be relevant. And so in the work that I'm doing now in my current role, I call it Nursing 2.0 because I'm still helping people, but helping them in a different way.
Yes.
This role that I'm doing is helping to remove barriers to opportunity. So I see that as my Nursing 2.0.
So how did you come upon Medtronic and what or who is Medtronic?
Yes. So historically, Medtronic has been known to be a medical device company. So when you think about the very first pacemaker, Medtronic is the one who introduced it to the market. And so as the company has evolved and CEOs and strategies have changed, we're now known as a medical technology company. And so not only do we bring medical devices to the market, but we also have devices that help with procedures in the OR. We have diabetes products. We also have software solutions that can help to monitor patients' data. So we bring the technology and the medical devices together to bring things to the market to help patients.
So obviously folks that are like me never think about that. And technology is so important, and I watch too much television and I love these medical shows. I watched one last night where the doctor did surgery. They didn't need anesthesia at all. It was just a local and a piece of equipment to remove fat cells and things like that, and the patient is wide awake, eating, talking on the phone. I'm like, who would have thought that you could have that kind of technology to make people well and to be happy with their bodies. So how did you come across Medtronic?
Really just doing some research. One of the things that I do, and this is probably an old, antiquated way of doing research, but I'm old and this is what I did. I went to the Minneapolis Chamber of Commerce to understand which companies were based there. And after I kind of figured out which companies kind of aligned with my vision, my values for my life, I sought out two, Medtronic and United Health Group. Got a job offer with both. Decided to take the role with Medtronic. Best decision that I could have ever made because it really, really aligns with my core values in terms of who I am as a person. So Medtronic is a mission-driven organization, and if you work there, you know the mission by heart. And we are a very patient-centric organization. And that aligns very well with my background with nursing, so that's why I chose Medtronic.
So do they work with hospitals or specifically with certain doctors, or they just take care of anybody that wants to partner with them?
We do it all. We are a global company. We're in over 150 countries.
Wow.
So we work with a lot of physicians. So I was in a role in medical education where physicians that are interested in learning about our devices, we would bring them in, educate them, and then they would go out and implant the devices. Or they would go out and work with an implanting physician and they would manage the devices, and we paid for everything. So, but we work with a ton of people, but I would say primarily physicians are our base because they're the ones that are actually recommending the devices to their patients. But we work with regulating bodies. We have patients that come directly to us who kind of speak about what their experiences have been having a medical device. So work with a variety of folks, but primarily physicians, yes.
That is wonderful. I'm glad to hear that, especially being in different countries, and especially those that may not even have any kind of health care at all. So that is paramount. So our Black Tie Gala here at Alabama A&M University will be on Friday, April 21st, and we are happy and excited that Medtronic is our key sponsor for Black Tie Gala. And the biggest part of it, of course, it's about scholarships for our students. So you were talking about the Thurgood Marshall Fund. They support Alabama A&M University, of course, HBCUs. So what role do you play in terms of that partnership with Thurgood Marshall and Medtronic?
Yes. So Medtronic has a partnership with Thurgood Marshall College Fund. And so Medtronic sought to build a relationship with Thurgood Marshall College Fund so that we could increase the number of people that look like you and I in the medical device industry. So when you look around, you don't see people that look like us traditionally. And so in developing that relationship with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the goal was really, I would say there are 3 or 4 different things that we were looking to accomplish in developing the relationship. Number one was to expose African American students to the medtech industry. Number 2 was to build Medtronic's brand across HBCU campuses. A lot of people haven't heard of Medtronic. I hadn't heard of them until I moved to Minneapolis, and there was a Medtronic right in my backyard in Memphis. So it's about building the brand, it's about exposure for the students, and then ultimately it's about recruiting them into our internship program and then converting them into full-time hires.
That's good to know. And we've had several students that are Thurgood Marshall recipients of their funding, the college funding, so we appreciate that. So you all will also be a part of STEM Day, which is going to be today, just before Black Tie Gala. So what can we expect with that? Medtronic Day at STEM Day at A&M.
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to participate in STEM Day today, and it was amazing. I was the keynote speaker for STEM Day today, and what I really wanted to convey to students was how your journey starts does not dictate how your journey ends. So my mom was 17 when she had me. She was single, worked in a factory. Well, she was actually still in high school, but eventually got a job in a factory. My dad wasn't around. And so I talked about all of the barriers that I faced growing up. And so statistically speaking, I wasn't supposed to be successful. And so the message that I wanted to convey to them was, just because you start out a certain way, that doesn't determine how you end this thing. You determine that.
Right.
And so whatever those barriers are, let them be barriers. But just crawl across them, kick them down, do whatever you need to do to get past them, and keep it moving. So I hope that they realize that it doesn't matter what barriers are placed in front of you. You can get past them and be whatever you want to be.
Most definitely. That is really the epitome of what we talk about. Start here, go anywhere. And don't let anybody block you. Don't let anybody stop you.
Yes.
And as you said, go around, go over, go under, whatever you need to do to keep it moving.
Yes.
To keep it moving. I'm talking with Cynthia Reese. She's the Director, External Partnerships and Community for Global Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity at Medtronic. And we're glad to have you here on campus. Now, there's going to be a med lab. I'm going to call it a med lab, but it's a Medtronic mobile lab here on campus. What encompasses this mobile lab?
This is something to see. You guys must come see this. So we have a fleet of 6 trucks. So think about 18-wheelers. So we have a fleet of 6 18-wheelers, and it is an OR suite on wheels. So when you walk in there, depending on the size of the truck, our bigger truck has a conference room, and then there is an OR suite on the other side. So we'll be here on campus with this Medtronic Mobile Lab on April 20th, and within the lab we have 2 stations ready for the students to engage in. One of them is our Mazur robot. So think about when a surgeon is performing surgery, they're using their hands and they get tired. So Medtronic has a robot that surgeons can use to assist them in the surgery, and then it allows them to extend the time because they're simply putting their arms inside of the robot to actually perform the procedure. So that's going to be on the truck for students to come and learn about. And then of course we also manufacture devices that surgeons use to assist them in surgery, such as a drill. So we have a egg simulation lab where students can drill holes in boiled eggs, which kind of simulates the drilling of a hole into a skull.
Oh my.
So that'll be the station for them to also engage in. And then of course we're going to have a small talk about who Medtronic is in general. But I really want them to get into those stations and get that experience and really understand what it's like. Now, one thing I do want to convey is this is not just for someone with a medical background. I just happen to have a nursing background, but we hire everybody. Just like any company, we hire people in finance majors, IT majors. We hire a ton of engineers. Our branding logo is engineering the, I should know this by heart, engineering the extraordinary. I had a brain fart. But I just want the audience to know that there is something for everyone. So this Medtronic Mobile Lab is for anyone. So I don't want you to limit and think it's just for anybody with a healthcare background. It's for anybody looking for a career.
Now, what about AI? Does AI play a role in this? You know, that's booming now.
Yes. We're starting to dabble in artificial intelligence. Definitely not my area of expertise, so I won't even pretend to know exactly what we're doing in that space, but I know we are doing some stuff with AI.
So STEM is big with you all, and I know there's STEAM, but A usually means art. So I wonder if they're going to have maybe a STEAAM, and that second A might be AI. I don't know. We shall see.
Yes.
So Medtronic has provided a wonderful gift to sponsor Black Tie Gala. Can you talk about that, and why do they feel that they need to give back to Alabama A&M and our students?
Yeah, so as part of our partnership with Thurgood Marshall College Fund, there are 5 HBCUs that we selected to really target and really be intentional about building our relationship. And Alabama A&M is one of them. And so I had the pleasure of being on campus last fall and had the pleasure of meeting Miss Yvette Clayton, and we are now joined at the hip. And I also had an opportunity to meet VP Jamal Ali. And we're also joined at the hip. And so really, again, I mentioned that I am a relationship person, never met a stranger, and we all just really clicked. And so we were having some conversations over dinner about some of the things that you guys are doing here on campus, and it just aligned very well with what we're trying to achieve as well at Medtronic. And so I'm really excited about the partnership that we're building here, and I hope that it just continues for many years to come.
What makes our partnership so unique, and does that partnership stand out more than the other 4 universities that you all are working with?
This partnership is quite a bit more extensive than I have with the other 4. I am just scratching the surface with the other 4. So we're actually probably going to what's the word? How do I say this? This is going to be the model for how I develop relationships with those other 4. So I'm really liking how our relationship is evolving, and I think that we just continue to build and enhance as we go, and I like how things are turning out. I actually had a conversation with Prairie View A&M earlier this week, and I was telling them about the great relationship that I have with Alabama A&M, and he was like, I want to do some of that stuff. So looking forward to expanding and
everybody wants to be Alabama A&M.
Of course.
We're the true A&M.
Yes.
And you know, A is always first in the alphabet.
That's right.
Anyway.
That's right.
So I love that. What are you all hoping students get from Medtronic Day?
So a couple things. Number 1, exposure. And not just students. I want faculty and administrators to come, because the more that they see, they can also serve as a conduit for those students that weren't able to attend, and they can share what that experience was like for them as well. But definitely exposure. I didn't get to see this growing up, and it was just happen chance that I decided that I wanted to go to nursing school. I want them to be exposed and be intentional about the paths that they take in life. And I know that it's not a perfect path, but as people say, if you can see it, you can achieve it. So definitely exposure, and them understanding that people that look like you and I work in this industry, and they can too.
So will there be opportunities for any interviewing for positions? So
we won't be interviewing, but we are taking applications for our Medtronic Immersion program. And what that is a 3-day, all expense paid experience for students to come to Minneapolis. And we're taking 60 students, and I'll take more if we have more than 60 that qualify. And they come, and we immerse them in all things Medtronic. So they have an opportunity to learn about the business. We actually take them to one of our manufacturing plants to see some of our products manufactured. We have a ton of employee resource groups, and specifically there's one called the African Descent Network. We have them to come in so that they can see that people that look like you and I do work in the medical device industry. So it's really just an immersive experience, all expense paid. All they have to do is show up.
Wow, that's as simple as that. Show up on time too. So you graduated from Union University and Webster University. So what does it mean to you that your employer has an affinity for HBCUs?
It's extremely important. We have been asking for a relationship like this for years. And sadly, it took the murder of George Floyd for people to decide to open their eyes. So that is really when people started to listen and say, okay, we hear you and we want to move forward with this. It's extremely important for us to have a relationship like this. One of the things at Medtronic that we talk about is zero barriers. And so this partnership helps to remove barriers to opportunity. So having this pipeline of diverse students enter into Medtronic through our internship and ultimately convert to full-time hires creates that diverse pipeline, and we want to nurture them and develop them so that they can continue to grow in their careers at Medtronic.
So what kind of questions, inquiries have you heard of or personally heard from students when it comes to Medtronic and that partnership?
Quite a few. Really good question. A lot of them ask about global opportunities. They ask questions about sustainability. What are we doing to support the environment? What are we doing to become more green? They're interested in understanding, what does a career at Medtronic look like? And so anytime I'm engaging with students, I'm just so thrilled because they ask such great questions. And when I was their age, was not thinking anywhere along the lines that they're thinking. Super impressed with them.
I love that. I love to hear that. What have you found has been your biggest obstacle while working there, or your biggest challenge, I should say?
Yes. I have a problem called not saying no. I want to do everything. I want to do everything. I was just telling someone that I received an email and someone was saying, oh, this organization wants to do some work working with Black physicians. Are you the person to connect them to? I'm not, but I want to say yes. So I think my biggest obstacle is not being able to do everything that I want to do. And so to combat that, I just try to really lean in and be really effective in the things that I can do.
So your lesson is to learn no as a complete sentence.
Correct.
And it's up to you what punctuation you put at the end.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay.
You got it.
There's homework tomorrow on this. I want you to know that. So, what are you most excited about for Black Tie Gala, STEM Day, Medtronic Day, all of that? What's your biggest excitement for it?
I am super excited to see those light bulb moments in those students' faces when they enter the Medtronic mobile lab. Another thing that I'm excited about is for people to start recognizing who Medtronic is. A lot of times people don't know who we are. We have a saying at work that says, you don't know us until you need us, and it's really true. So hoping that we can continue to have that brand recognition, and I think the thing that is most exciting is starting to see these TMCF interns turn into full-time employees.
Wow.
I'm so pleased with that.
Let's do a quick round robin. So you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when I say these things. So HBCUs.
Black talent.
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
The #1 sorority in the world.
And Chicago MD, Chicago Med, Marcus Welby MD.
When I think Chicago, I think cold. And I also think popcorn, Garrett's.
Oh, yes. Charles Chips, I'll take that.
Yes.
Charles Chips. So how can we find, and how can our listeners find information about Medtronic? Where can they go?
Yes. So across campus, you should see some digital billboards that will be advertising Medtronic Day on April 20th. And there is a QR code. You can scan that and you can sign up for a slot to come on our Medtronic mobile lab.
That sounds exciting. That's hands-on.
Yes.
I like that kind of
Yes, but we'll be back. We will be back. You guys will not be rid of me after April 20th. I love engaging with you guys, so I will continue to work with Ms. Clayton and VP Ali on other ways that we can continue to build this partnership.
Look forward to that. And online, where do we find Medtronic?
Medtronic.com.
That's easy. That's easy right there. Medtronic.com. Cynthia Reese, thank you so much for coming to WJAB, coming to Alabama A&M. We appreciate the conversation. And look forward to playing next week on all the equipment.
Let's do it. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. April 20th, and of course at Black Tie Gala, April 21st. And you can find more information at Medtronic.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Community News from the Hill. I'm your host, Erica Fox, and we have much more coming your way, from NPR News to award-winning news magazine, and more great smooth jazz and cool vocals on Afternoon Expressions right here on WJAB. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.